Hey all, my name is Paul Borosky and I am the owner of Quality Business Plan. And what I'd like to do today is give you all some tips and tricks on how to write a box truck company business plan. And specifically what I want to drill down on today is going to be the SWOT analysis as well as how to structure your startup costs for a box truck business plan company. So the way the video is going to work is I'm going to go ahead and first give you all a little bit of information about who I am, what I do, why I do it. From there, we're going to dive into the tips and tricks on your box truck business plan. And then from that point, we'll wrap it up and call it a day. All right, so with that said, let's zip through this little PowerPoint presentation. As promised, a little bit about me. I am a professional writer, specifically a business plan writer. So if you need some help writing up a box truck business plan, give me a call. Love to help. If you need a little bit of help with your box truck business plan, but you don't want a professional writing for you, check out some of my books on Amazon.com. I do have some books published specifically for business plan writing. And then finally, a little bit of education about me. I am an adjunct professor as well as a subject matter expert for both business and finance. So if you need some help with your financial projections, business plan's good, financial projections not so much. Again, give me a call, send me a text, send me an email. Be delighted to assist. Enough about me. Let's talk about your box truck business plan and the SWOT analysis. So the SWOT analysis, what the heck is it? Why is it important? And why should you include it in your box truck business plan? Well, the SWOT analysis, all that means is the first four letters represent strength, which would be the strength of an organization, weaknesses of an organization, opportunities. Now we're looking external to the company. Opportunities. What are some opportunities in the marketplace for box truck businesses? And then some threats. What are some issues or some challenges that is facing the box truck industry or your company specifically? So once we understand that the strength and weaknesses are focused inside the organization and the opportunities and threats, we're going to drill down and examine the outside of the organization in your SWOT analysis. So with that said, let's go ahead and identify some strengths. When you're doing your strengths for your organization, you're always going to want to have double the strength as you do the weaknesses. So if you have two strengths, don't go no more than one weakness. And same thing for opportunities. If you have two opportunities or four opportunities, if you have four opportunities listed here, then don't go more than two threats. You don't want to. You want to go kind of heavy with your strengths and opportunities, and you want to go a little bit lighter on your weaknesses and threats. If you go the other way around, then people are going to start thinking, well, wow, there's a lot of challenges and there's a lot of weaknesses in the organization, and there's not a lot of compensating factors, and you're setting yourself up for failure, which you don't want to do. All right, so for this example right here, box truck industry specific, what I did for strength, I identified documented plans. Well, once you have a business plan, that is a plan that is documented. So, technically that is correct. And also keep in mind, most businesses in the U.S., 1 in 10 do not have, or 9 out of 10 do not have a written business plan. So once you finish your business plan, it is written, it is a documented plan. Also, you are ahead of 9 other competitors in your industry. 9 out of 10 competitors, like I said, do not have a written business plan. Next is going to be go ahead and identify some more of your strengths and weaknesses. And once you have your documented plans, which is kind of it's a good thing to have, but it's not telling the reader too much. Your subsequent strengths, really drill into the company and identify what you are really going to be doing better as compared to the competitors. For example, in this example right here, I'm saying that you are going to be specializing in moving furniture or moving appliances, or you could be delivering for Amazon. Whatever your specialty is, what if your bread and butter for the organization is going to be, that is a niche. Or if you're going to be a generalist, you're just going to go ahead and hit load boards. Well, again, that is a competitive advantage, and that is a strength for the organization. You might have some really good usage and experiences with load boards. Again, so that's going to be a strength. So make sure, if you're going to go general for the first one, like documented plans, that is important, without a doubt. But for subsequent strengths, make sure to really take a look at your company and what do you really do good, and make sure you document that. Next, for weaknesses, this is where you want to start going. You don't want to get really, analyzing your company and find out all of your weaknesses and, start documenting it and put them in your business plan and share them with the world. That's definitely not a strategy I would recommend. when you're doing your weaknesses, go for weaknesses that are just, just blatantly obvious. For example, if you're a startup trucking company, then, you're a startup. Everybody knows it. It's no secret. So, use that as a weakness. And again, keep in mind, can't drill down enough. When you're doing weaknesses, make sure it's going to be half as many as your strength. Next is going to be opportunities. For this particular example, I use opportunities to expand to dedicated routes. So your organization at startup, you might be specializing in low boards, and you're just taking whatever jobs you can get until you get your feet under you and start building word of mouth about your organization and the services provided. Once you do that, you might want to expand, get a couple more box trucks and then expand into some dedicated routes. If that's going to be some opportunities you're going to exploit, make sure to list it here. Next is going to be hire additional drivers and helpers. When you start expanding, there's only so much one person can do in a day. You're going to run out of time if you're going to try to do it all yourself. So that might be some opportunities as well. Is going to be hire some drivers and hire some helpers. And with that, in your business plan under your SWOT analysis, you're going to want to drill down and explain how you're going to attract your drivers and retain your helpers, because right now, as we all know, is a real tight labor market. We need to be a little bit creative out there. So we do need we do have some opportunities in hiring them, and then we might have to add a little bit of meat to the bone to discuss how we're going to do that. And then finally, threats. Again, keep your threats general to the industry. For example, if the economy starts to slow down, well, guess what? Yeah, box truck industry is going to be hurt. Yourself as well as your competitors, you're going to have a slowdown in your business. So just make sure you document that. Don't go too specific to your organization, just for appearance purposes. You might want to have a SWOT analysis done just for yourself to keep handy. That's not in the business plan, and then just have at it. But when you're sharing it with others, make sure you keep your threats general to the industry as a whole. All right, the next tip is going to be startup costs. So tip number 2, startup costs. When you're doing startup costs for your organization, all too often, I'll receive a business plan for me to edit, and the startup cost section is like 3 to 4 to 5 pages long, just listing every screw and every nail and every piece of wood and ounce of glue that's going to be used in the organization, and they're putting a dollar amount to it, right down to the penny, adding inflation onto it, to project, the startup for the organization. It's just so inundated with information. And not only that, but when you're trying to do your startup cost for an organization, it can be starting in 30 to 60 or 90 days, you're going to be wrong anyway. So you want to use categories, you want to use budgets. You don't want to go crazy with the specifics, because A, you're going to put a lot of time into research into prices, and B, the prices are going to change by the time you're ready to pull a trigger and buy. So don't use specific numbers. When you can avoid it, use categories. So for this example right here for the box truck industry, the first 2 lines, what I like to do when I do the startup cost, I like to put where I'm going to be getting my money from to start up the company. For this example, I'm saying I'm throwing $50,000 out of my pocket or equity financing, and then I'm going to take a loan out for $150,000, total startup cost $200,000. So this is where my money is coming from, and here are the costs or the categories of where the money is going to. And then finally, at the bottom, I've got a total up to $200,000. When you're done allocating money to your different categories, make sure the bottom line $200,000 equals your equity investment and as well as your loan. All right, so for a box truck, typical box truck company startup, the way that I would allocate the funds, or the way that I would categorize them, would be your working capital. Working capital is how much money you need to keep the lights on and pay your drivers until you get some money coming in. This example, $43,000. Purchase of the truck, I'm saying it's going to be a new truck, $110,000. Equipment, maybe we're going to specialize in moving furniture. We're going to be specializing in moving appliances. So miscellaneous equipment is going to be $30,000, and I've got in parentheses right there, I'll lift. Safety equipment, $1,000. Prepaid items, $3,000. Office equipment, $1,500, and so on. Now, when I put this information into my business plan, I'm going to include this section right here. However, in order to make sure that I've got enough information, for example, safety equipment, $1,000, I might itemize that information over to outside of my business plan. So for example, safety equipment is we're going to need a GPS and we're going to need some road triangles. Well, I'm going to go ahead and for each one of the categories that I know that I'm going to have multiple items and I want to make sure I'm not skipping anything, I'm going to go ahead and make each one of these items, like I said right here, the safety equipment, I'm going to break it out here, and then I'm going to list the items and then total it up, and then I'm going to bring that total right here into the safety items. So if somebody asks me for additional documentation, we'll say, well, you know what, Paul, safety equipment, $1,000. How are you going to break that up? If they want more information, I'm prepared and I have it. If they don't, I'm not cluttering my business plan with a whole bunch of facts and figures and statistics that is drowning out what I want to talk about, which is, in general, startup costs and your revenues and your profits and, what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. You don't want to provide too much information, just enough to get them interested. And that works where you just give them the categories right here. And then if they ask for more information, you've got it broken out into a separate document right there. All right. Well, hopefully that information is helpful for writing your business plan for your box truck company. So let's summarize this little game real quick. So first and foremost, when you're writing your SWOT analysis, make sure to show more strengths as compared to weaknesses. I can't drill that enough. When you're doing your strength, if you're going to have 4 bulleted items for strengths, make sure you have 1 or 2 weaknesses. If you're going to have 6 or 7 strengths, then maybe 2 or 3 weaknesses. So always go top heavy for your strengths and opportunities as compared to your weaknesses and threats. Next, when you're doing your startup costs, make sure to buffer, add in some buffer to your startup costs. You might think that a new truck's going to be $110,000, and then with inflation, by the time you're ready to pull the trigger, it might be $120,000 or $125,000. So for each one of the categories, or for the whole startup cost, make sure to put some kind of a buffer in there. That way, you're going back and asking for seconds. You might get a loan and find out that you didn't get enough, and now you've got to ask for more money. That's going to be a whole different conversation as compared to if you've asked for too much money and you're trying to give a little bit of money back because you don't need it. So ask for as much money as possible and include a little bit of buffer so you're not struggling at startup. And then finally, if you need some help writing your box truck business plan, definitely reach out, give me a call, send me a text, send me an email. Also, if you need some financial projections done for your box truck business plan, I could do those as well. And finally, if you do want some more information on how to write a box truck business plan, visit my website at qualitybusinessplan.com/how to write a box truck business plan. And if you're looking for a business plan template, which includes a financial model that you can customize, as well as some tutorials to help you complete the box truck business plan template, or the financial model that I included for it, you can always pick up my box truck business plan template at qualitybusinessplan.com/box truck company business plan template. Hopefully this information was helpful. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up on YouTube. And as always, have a great day. Thank you.